First up, though, let us talk to Peter Cardwell, because 20 minutes ago, roughly, Suella Braverman was accused of fresh ministerial code breaches. But, of course, this is the kind of thing that happens. This is what they do when they're like a dog with a bone, where they go, oh, we found out some other stuff that maybe should be done that might be a breach or might not be a breach, but somebody's going to have to investigate to see whether it is a breach. Let's see if we can get Peter Cardwell to explain. Peter, very good afternoon to you.
Hi, Mike. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm sort of reading this story with sort of encountering incredulity, really, because it doesn't really point anything out that may be a breach of the code. It points out something that could possibly, maybe, if it had happened at another time, be a breach of the code. But it's kind of all adding to the cacophony around the Home Secretary at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't think it's that serious. It's the fact that Suella Braverman, between 2010 and 2015, before she was an MP, did some charity work with an organisation called the Africa Justice Foundation. And this trained various people who were lawyers at the time, gave them extra skills, gave them the sort of the benefit of Suella Braverman. She was quite a high-flying lawyer. Her experience, she was in it with Cherie Blair, obviously Cherie Blair, delete is financially necessary, who is Tony Blair's wife and a very high-flying lawyer and judge in her own right. Now, there are various people in the who Suella Braverman worked with in the Africa Justice Foundation who are now key members of the government, Paul Kagame's government, the president of Rwanda's government. So she knows these people. Now, this you might think might be quite helpful in terms of the links with Rwanda, but now there are people saying, well, actually, this £140 million deal to send asylum seekers to Rwanda, maybe she should have declared it. She probably should have declared it, but the fact that she didn't, is it really that serious? I'm not sure. One former minister has apparently told The Independent the Home Secretary never mentioned her work with the charity and should have been upfront and transparent. Well, two former Standards chiefs, including Alistair Graham, who sometimes comes on our programming, says that she should have formally disclosed it. Now, I don't think this is going to make a massive difference to how too many people live their lives. Right. Maybe it's a breach of the rules, maybe it isn't, but does it really make that much of a difference?
Yes.
I think the aspect in terms of the speeding fine, that does make a difference because it is what she did or didn't do as a government minister, whereas this relates to charity work that she didn't make a profit from before she became even an MP, never mind a government minister.
And so according to sources close to her, there is no absolute yes or no answer to this. I mean, nobody seems to know about the actual code for this, something like this, because she wasn't an MP, she wasn't a minister. It was quite a long time before she was a minister. And so, you know, I think that's charity work. And it was charity work for which she wasn't paid. So, you know, all in all, I think we're just going to see more and more of these kind of stories from, you know, emanating from God knows where, trying to sort of make it all look a lot worse.
Yeah, I mean, Sir Alistair Graham is the former head of the Committee on Standards in Public Life. He's been on TalkTV a number of times, has told The Independent, where this story has originated, the Independent website used to be the newspaper, now just a website. If the Rwanda policy was there when she produced a declaration of interest and did not include it, then I would have thought that would have been a breach of the Ministerial Code. Now, is it a serious breach of the Ministerial Code? I don't know. Does Rishi Sunak care? I don't know. Right. I think this is obviously, there is a sense that people are out to get Suella Braverman.
There is, isn't there? Yeah. And it seems as though there has been a sense, really, for a while, since the days of Priti Patel, that there are people out to get certain people.
Well,
and they all seem to be on the sort of right side of the Tory party.
Well, there are a lot of people who are not happy with the asylum policy, Mike. There are a lot of people who are very happy with it in terms of sending people to Rwanda. It's actually a very popular policy within Conservative voters, but there are a lot of people who aren't. So in terms of the speeding fine and what she attempted to do with the speeding fine, I think there probably is a case to answer there. I think there are possible things that went wrong there, possible things that she did incorrectly. I know there are people who say that's just a witch hunt. I probably disagree with that. But this one, in terms of charity work she did a number of years ago, if she had links with Rwanda, well, that's a good thing if she wants to pursue this policy. And there are a number of people who went through this voluntary organisation that are now in key positions in Rwanda's government. Well, those links are always helpful. Should she have declared it? Well, maybe she should have, but is it that serious? I don't think so.
Because the other thing that always happens in these circumstances is at some point or other, somebody will say, surely now that she's the story, she'll have to go. So it's not so much about the substance of the claims, it's more about what people are talking about.
Perception is reality in politics,
Yeah.
Mike. There'll be more of these, I would imagine, as well. There will be attempts to get rid of Suella Braverman. I mean, the interesting thing is that she did resign previously because of a breach of the Ministerial Code, because of sending an email to someone she shouldn't have sent an email, and she resigned as a result of that. So there are questions not just for Rishi Sunak, but also for Suella Braverman in terms of saying, if that was the standard you held yourself to before, what standard are you holding yourself to now? And all of these allegations will play into that as well.
It's a kind of mad way to run a country, though, isn't it?
It is a bit. I think
I mean,
that,
forgive me for trivialising it, but I'm afraid I am.
Well, I think there are many people in America who look at the fact that, their former President Trump is now a convicted sex offender, and they're looking to us and say, your scandals involved.
Well, he's not actually, though, is he? He's not a convicted sex offender. Because it wasn't a criminal case. That's the point.
That's a civil case. Okay, we're dancing ahead of a pin, Mike. But anyway, I wouldn't
want to dance on the head of a pin if you call someone a sex offender who isn't one. I mean, you'd be dancing somewhere else, I'm afraid, with your pants taken down.
Well, I sincerely apologise to President Trump. I'm sure he's watching. And
he does watch. He likes it.
My point is that's a big scandal, whereas here we have scandals involved.
Yeah, no, listen, well, say as you wish to say it. Certainly he's been found by a civil jury to have sexually abused a woman, and he's also under indictment by a New York state attorney, none of which seems to make any difference.
My point is that to me definitely is a scandal and is something that people are talking about, whereas we in the UK have scandals which revolve around motorhomes, people doing voluntary work, and people trying not to attend speed awareness courses. Right. I mean, it's all a bit budget, really.
It is, really. It is, I'm afraid. You'll have to come up with something better. Please do. See what you can do this afternoon. Peter Cardwell, thank you very much indeed. Talk Radio's political editor.